What is up, guys? It is me, the Big Man Bassing. A little bit of Richard from the future. I wanted to make it clear when you guys come into this video today, it is not one of my normal videos. It's kind of a little bit more me just talking to you guys about catching peacocks and some tips and tricks along the way to make sure I can help you guys get on some baits. It's kind of a new content I'm doing because I'm getting a lot of time here at the old Hooked Up Bait Co. and Art Gallery. And I'm taking the time, one, to help them promote some information as well, and also help you guys with some understanding, because I can't always go fishing every day. It's my job, but a lot of my job requires me being here. So on my few days that I have off, it is kind of hard to shove everything I need to do into making content and doing fishing videos, because it's winter break, first of all, so there's so many people out. We're going to be doing some other videos, though. I do have a sheep's head video and a black drum video planned. Hopefully we can hook up with a few other anglers and do kind of a cool little video as well. Probably some catch and cooks and some fun stuff like that. But more importantly, for the meantime, I'm going to help you guys out with some tips and tricks. And there's going to be a few of these videos being made. You'll notice I'm always in the hoodie because it's been cold here. And well, not cold, it's been enjoyable, and I miss wearing a hoodie because it makes me look fine. But anyways, guys, these videos are going to be educational in that sense. So if you have any questions or want any more tips, DM me on Instagram or on here, like I'm saying in the video, and let's get you back over to me in the past. What is up, guys? It is me, the Big Man Bassing. Today we're over at Hooked Up, and we've got some baits laid out in front of me. We're going to talk about some good lures and tactics and rigs to run for peacock bass. Now, I've been fishing for peacock bass probably steadily for the last 5 years. My push for exotics really kind of came middle of 2019, right before the pandemic. You know, the old wonderful, the vid-19. But with that time and more time being outdoors, I really fell in love with exotics and peacocks primarily. So I've got some baits laid out in front of me. We're going to go over a few of them, and we are going to talk about some really good tactics and lures for peacock bass fishing. For me, I have a favorite out of this whole lineup, and no, it isn't live shiners. We're going to talk about live shiners here, and probably towards the end of the video. So if that's what you're here for, end of the video. But we're going to talk about some little lure options that are really fun to fish with, especially on lighter tackle. And honestly, they work great. So first one, you guys may have seen in some of my other videos, I love the rooster tails. Now this is a little bit bigger than what I normally throw, but they're a cheap, inexpensive bait that you can throw around. You can use silver, gold blades. I like the white bodies or the brighter colors because they stand out in that water just a little bit better. But the rooster tails, I give them a 10 out of 10 for peacock fishing. The bigger ones, the hooks will last longer. You will see on the smaller ones that you're going to bend the hooks out more often or have issues with that, but this is a 10 out of 10 for me. A close second is the old beetle spin. Now, you're going to notice, honestly, a lot of these are panfish and crappie baits. So if you already are familiar with some of that stuff, then you know how to work these, how to reel these. A lot of these are just pitch and retrieve lures. Old beetle spin, good runner up to that rooster tail. Small profile, flashy. These peacocks like fast and flashy. If you're burning it back or even just doing a slow reel in on them, 9 times out of 10 they're going to nail these two lures. A little bit of a new one to me, but I know a lot of fishermen that fish them. These smaller little spinner baits. Let me flip it around so you can see it. These smaller little spinner baits work amazing. I like it, especially you can see it has that, I don't know, like that scaled blade on there. It flashes light way better than just your smooth blade. But the cool thing with this is you can also take like a little trailer behind it and fish for, you know, if you're down like Golden Gate area, you can fish for other species like snook or tarpon with a little bit bigger profile. You can change the profile of this just depending on what you want. On the back, you put a fluke on the back, you can put a little paddle tail on the back, give it a little bit more vibration. It's a good little option to throw. Very diverse lure. As we get towards your more, you know, rigged bait stuff, everybody sleeps on the old power bait, but I'll tell you what, these things work. Great little bait here. I'll hold it nice and close so you can see it. Nice small profile, bouncing around. One of my favorite bed fishing lures for them. When these fish go to spawn, if you're unfamiliar with fishing for them, or you're from up north and you've always wanted to target one, think smallmouth fishing. A lot of times when you're fishing for these fish on bed or you're just trying to get their attention, I tell a lot of people that come down from up north that are familiar with fishing for smallmouth, it's almost the same style of fishing. So when it comes to bed fishing for these, you can cast on a bed of peacocks, and if they are fired up, which 9 times out of 10 that time of year they are, because they're breeding or eating, they're just hands down a great fighting fish to play with. And just putting this in their bed, they'll nail it every single time. Going on to kind of a lure that I don't see a lot of people throw for them, but I have thrown them in the past and had people use them in the past. The voodoo mullet has that nice shiner kind of look to it. There's some other colors that stand out a little bit more. My only quarrel with this bait is the single treble hook. So with peacocks, they'll kind of tail strike or grab it by the head, and there's not a hook there. That hook is dead center, so you got to hope they choke it. And I mean, I've got plenty of bass on them, snook, other species like that. But this is a lure that I'm starting to see people use a little bit more for peacocks. They're getting the hits, but not the hookups that I like to see. But it's a good little search bait. You find them, switch over, throw something else. Great option for that. Going on to kind of a bigger bait than what I've already shown you guys today. The X-Wraps are a very popular bait for these peacocks. Especially over in Miami, guys are throwing these Rapalas a lot. A little bit smaller or the same size that I'm holding here. They're having a lot of luck. Your bigger peacocks will nail this. Like again, I said, it goes back to fast and flashy. If they're bright colored, that tail lights up. I don't know if it's going to show you. You can see a little bit of blue. Yeah. Just the way this bait moves, they love it. Nice little, you know, it's a great versatile bait for so many other species, but it's a great bait for peacocks. You can either reel it slow, you know, just let it go and bomb it out, reel it back, or you give it the old jerk technique and all that fun stuff with that. Look at a little lure. Now, going on to some bigger soft plastics. Wise Guys is a brand that I'm super familiar with and very available down here in Southwest Florida. We have our little flukes. Now, the small flukes are great. You can rig them up on a 2/0 or 1/0 screw lock hook. That's what I primarily like throwing with these. Or you can even put them on a Ned rig or a little jig head and bounce them around. Or you can finesse fish them. Just put a little hook through the nose. Like, you know, just a little vector hook through the nose, cast them around, and do all that fun stuff. But it's a very good, versatile bait. White is a good color for that. The Disco Glow is a good color for that. Really, I like the colors that stand out in the water primarily as a much better option for peacock fishing. But sometimes they want that dark color. I can't tell you how many times that there's just days where I'm out there fishing and all my bright colors aren't working what I normally fish with, and I'll go and throw something dirty on there like a root beer color and nail it. And then going back to fast and flashy, we're going to talk about that same color I was just saying a second ago. This is the 3.5 Glow Disco. I always say it backwards. Disco Glow. Glow Disco. But these are a great little bait here. Little 375 swim bait. Nice flake in it, the whole 9 yards. Rig these up however you like. Jig head, rig them weedless, whatever is your preference on that. Now, going back down in size now, we're going back, let's talk about crappie baits. Again, bright colors. I love these. Little crappie jig head, or you can, like I said, you can rig them on a little hook, finesse them, stuff like that. It's a really good little option there. Again, another great bed bait here. You put this in the bed. The only way fish can move something is with their mouth, and probably the best thing to use. But these are a little fan favorite of mine. I like the orange. I call them the old creamsicles, but the actual color for this is Dreamsicle Delight. But that creamsicle color to me is just always a good color to throw for peacocks. Now, moving on to the live bait portion of this. As you guys have seen, I've flashed the old vector hook about 1,000,000 times. This is one of the smallest sizes I use for shiners or minnows. This is a size 2 saltwater cut SSW. It's a saltwater rated hook, so it is a very strong little hook. For this, I'll rig shiners up, hook them through the mouth, toss them out, let them swim around and do their thing. I like the lighter and smaller hooks because it does not weigh on the shiner as much, allows it to swim more natural, allows it to move around. It keeps that with that, keeping it alive longer and putting less strain on your bait fish. So, will I run bigger hooks? Yeah, I'll run them up to a 1/0. I don't normally run anything bigger than a 1/0 for peacocks, just because I want that fish to swim natural as it can. Because there are some peacocks that have been hooked a million times and they are very, very picky on the way they eat. So if I can make that bait fish look as natural as possible, I'm going to. Now, being that same fact there, this is one of the rare occasions that I will always use fluorocarbon for peacocks in clear water. Why, Big Man Bassing, you say you use the monofilament. You're right. I use monofilament a lot. 15 to 20 pound mono is what I'll throw in murkier, more structure-filled water for peacocks. But 9 times out of 10 in freshwater, you don't deal with half the stuff you deal with saltwater. There's no barnacles growing. There's no like super rusty metals. There's no, random coral. But in some cases there are. And I've fished in some places in Miami where there's more shopping carts in the water than fish. And the abrasion, I go back to monofilament. But if it's crystal clear water and I'm pond fishing in Miami, I'm going to be throwing something like, just like this. Even in Cape coral fishing specifically, all of this works in Cape. Even the big jerkbait does. That's the biggest thing, is if you're looking to go out in Cape or Fort Myers or Lehigh, everything I just showed you worked. But if you're going to make the trip over to the other coast, everything here works too. But I will tell you, if you're searching for spots, your best bet 9 times out of 10 is bringing some live bait with you. Live bait's going to find the fish, and then you can start playing with lures, top waters, other things like that. A few baits I don't have here that I would recommend for you if you wanted to throw top waters. You have the little tiny spooks. Actually, freeze frame for a second. I'll be right back. I think I have one. Okay, so we do have one here in the shop. These are the Zara puppies. Awesome little top water here. One of the 2 top waters I recommend, especially for fishing around here. It's a perfect, you don't have to be this color exact, but I do love this color. The other one is your simple whopper plopper, running the smallest size whopper plopper. I can't remember the exact inchage on it, but the smallest whopper plopper, it also does really, really well for those fish when they're feeding and being super aggressive. Just rip it across the surface and they will nail it. But again, this all works here in Lee County, Charlotte County, because we're starting to see peacocks move further north. We're starting to see plenty of peacocks back in Golden Gate Canal chains. For a few years there, they were very difficult to target, but they're back pretty strong through there. The Glades are reporting on it. Really, from my current report on peacock bass, they are all around Okeechobee, west Charlotte County, east across the state, and a little bit further north and down. So I would say most of south, southwest, and southeast Florida have peacock bass now, and other exotics. We're sorry. Let me get these, sip all the old nectar of the gods here. Better. But we're starting to see more than just peacocks show up. We're starting to see red-tailed catfish show up. We're starting to see snakeheads coming across the state, whether that's by natural causes or people moving them. There are clown knives being seen across the state. There are arowana seen across the state right now. So we're starting to get a collection of exotics here in Southwest Florida. There's spots with big pacu now. So there may be more exotic videos to come, but I wanted to just take this time to talk to you guys about peacocks because there's a lot of questions about peacock bass fishing. So these are just the little tidbits and tricks. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, it is the Big Man Bassing on Instagram. Also follow Hooked Up Bait Co. and Art Gallery on Instagram. That's the shop that I'm at. And if you have any questions, you can DM me on there or even DM the shop. We can get you squared away. All of the stuff you saw here, except for the vector hooks, are things you can buy from this shop. They are here. So if you're looking for some artificials, you can always come down. I can help you out with the best thing we have. If we don't have something, we can always order it, or we can point you in the best direction to get one. So you guys get out there and hook into your next memory. I will see you guys in the water, and I will see you guys next time.